And we're back. Guys, today we're going to be doing a solo adventure with 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mike, you're an old school gaming channel. What are you thinking? Well, as you guys know, I've been trying to put out these videos, these how-tos, so I can help people improve their games. And a lot of the feedback I'm hearing is, well, these rules won't work with my 5th edition game, or how would I implement this in a 5th edition game? And so I want to run a solo. That's what we do here at Scudder for My channel. I want to run a solo game. I want to show you how you can use the core rules and some of the other books too to run a game all by yourself that's using old school rules that will improve your gameplay experience. Now, I'm going to run just one character with some sidekicks, which I think is a terrible name, by the way. They're retainers. I don't know why 5th edition called them sidekicks. Terrible idea. But I'm going to run a Cavalier Fighter, Sir Holgar, and we're going to just use the rules from this book, the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. This one's the Player's Handbook. We'll get to the Dungeon Master's Guide in a second. So the races from this book, we're going to stick to human, dwarf, elf, and halfling. The token rules, everything else will be monsters. We're going to use the ability scores that are printed in this book, not the alternate rules where you can just change the ability scores to whatever you want it to be. We prefer like having some kind of racial determination. So we're going to play a fighter from here. And we're going to do a dungeon crawl and a hex crawl using what we're quite familiar with on this channel is the Appendix A from the Dungeon Master's Guide. Now, we've used it quite a lot on this channel to generate a dungeon, and we're going to continue to do so, but instead of having to make adjustments all the time about, oh, well, this doesn't exist in old school, this is 5th edition only, well, now we can use it all. Right? So there's a few other things that we're going to use out of here. I've been saying how you can use gold as experience points to level up instead of having like this epic story that you feel like you have to write, because it can really drain your energy having to always make a new story every week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the Dungeon Master's Guide to randomly populate and generate a dungeon. Now, there is a section, let me check the page, on page 73, where you can roll a d20 and it'll give you a quest inside the dungeon. So what we're going to do, using 1-to-1 time, we'll roll a number of days that we have to complete the quest. And then we will do dungeon delves until either we fail to meet the quest, we run out of time, or we find it in the dungeon using random generators. There's I think it's a d20, so there's a lot of different options, and then you roll either a d20 or a d12 on another table to determine who the villain is. So you'll generate a quest, you'll generate a villain, and then we will go and explore in the dungeon until we find the primary occupant that's guarding treasure, and at that point that will be the quest room where we will have like some kind of epic showdown with whatever bad guy that we generate using the random tables. We are going to be using Xanathar's Guide to Everything for all of the wilderness stuff. So that's this book. This is the alternate cover, which I got from my local game shop back whenever I lived in America, and I was really big into 5th edition. He always set these aside for me so I could have like the rare, like cool copy, and the art is really cool. I mean, you have to admit. But on page 92 of that book, there are different regions. There's Arctic, there's desert, forest, jungle, and there's random encounter tables based upon the challenge rating. So it's like 1 to 4, there's a D100 table, and then like 5 to 10 D100 table. And so you're going to have like massive variety of experiences while we're hex crawling from location to location. And so we'll fill out the map just like we did with the other solo play. And so we will have to search around in a hex to find the location of our dungeon, so that the clock will always be ticking. So there's going to be this sense of urgency. We don't want to have too many long rests, because if we fail the quest, then we don't get the big reward at the end, right? And then we're also, from Xanathar's Guide, we're going to be using the Cavalier, which is as you guys know, my favorite class. It's like the knight class. It's got some benefits for like mounted combat, and also there's this really cool thing where like you can like defend everybody in your group, like Sir Holgar would. If you guys know the reference, if you know, you know. And then, like I said, we're going to be also using the sidekick rules from Tasha's. Now, this book is pretty controversial because it's really powerful in a lot of ways, but we need some retainers. And so we're going to generate a dwarf retainer and a human cleric. So, well, the dwarf will be an expert retainer, and then the cleric, I think they're called healers in this book. So we'll have Alienora and Hughie as well to join us on our adventures. Now, whenever Sir Holgar is in downtime, we will roll up another hero and have a couple sidekicks join them as well. And so that way Sir Holgar can, do research and like build his keep eventually, and we will rotate between different heroes and their sidekicks. Instead of always having like 10 different characters to choose from, we'll have one character and then some sidekicks that are going to be attached to him, some retainers. I'm going to stop using the term sidekick because it's really annoying to me. It's like a superhero show, and I think that's so silly. But I am very excited about this. I've had a lot of questions on the channel, and I feel like this is going to be a great way for me to show off what 5th edition in its essence is actually a really cool system. And I think that it'll be really fun to get back into doing a solo play, because I haven't been doing one in a while. If you're wondering about the OSC solo play, I don't really have time for it anymore. And that's only because I want to prioritize the videos I'm making. I don't know if there's anything else that I could teach you guys about that system, or that we could go through that we haven't already covered several times. And so I just don't want to keep repeating the same content over and over. If you guys are just really curious about it and you want me to do another one, I will. Just leave me in the comment section, leave me a note. But I think it's better to like answer questions that people actually have about how to use one-to-one time and how to use Gold's experience in modern games, because these systems are not built around that. And so if you're not careful, you might find yourself falling into the trap of being a narrative or a storytelling kind of dungeon master. And I want to break people free of that and give them opportunities to use their Appendix A to generate a fun story and an adventure. And so with that, I think that's all we're going to do. Oh, I do want to let you guys know that we're not going to be rolling for stats. I'm just going to make these characters up. Again, there's no reason to like make a video about that for how to create a 5th edition like a 5th edition D&D character. There's thousands of videos online. So I'm just going to use the standard array, which is in the player's handbook. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8 will be my ability scores. And then as a human, I will bump up some of those stats. I like those human-centric games. So I am excited to get into this game. We will see how it plays out. If you guys like it, we'll keep making them, but I will do at least one full quest dungeon delve adventure. And then also using light, like the actual rules in the book are not as lenient as people would have you think. We'll be using torches. We're going to be using encumbrance, all of the old school rules that people like threw out back in the day whenever 3rd edition came out. Well, we're going to be using it in 5th edition. We're going to apply all of those ancient traditions into our modern game. So if you're interested in watching that, hit like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.